One of the main obstacles with using retro consoles in today's age is being able to plug them into modern TVs. Most of them have old composite and don't work with some TVs. That's why we do HDMI mods. This one's already had a HDMI mod installed by somebody else and it doesn't work, so the customer sent it in to us to investigate and hopefully fix. So let's just take a look. This is the customer's console. I've given it a quick power up and can confirm it works over composite, but not over HDMI. And the customer sent a note in. It's had a PixelFX retro gem, which is the most common one for HDMI, but it basically doesn't work. We can see at the back now we have the original composite and the new HDMI. Let's just plug in the composite first. And we can see we've got composite and audio. Now let's just disconnect this and connect HDMI. And we get the boot screen for the retro gem, which would show up if you just applied power, but you can see there's no background image. And we can see pressing L does nothing either, so this has definitely got something wrong. At first look, there's the mod, and we can see the flex ribbon connected here, but in a fairly bad sort of fold. Taking a look at the solder work, it's not too bad. I've definitely seen worse. Slightly slanted, but it is all on and fine, and I've checked continuity, so we don't necessarily have a problem there. Again, similar here, the soldering isn't bad, could be improved, and we've got bits of bare wire here that they're not touching and they're not going to move. So the issue I don't think is going to be here. We can clean this up after, but let's just take a look at this board instead. Now you have to set this up for certain configurations, and if we go to the RetroGen website and select N64, we should have J and K bridged only. And if we look here, we can see definitely a solder mess here. There's all kinds of bits of solder, there's solder balls here, there's a solder ball here, there's some here. So let me just clean up this first. And down the right side of these shorts is just ground. So you can see all the right sides are just ground. And then these sides are, if they're grounded, they're connected. So K and J are connected, H isn't, G isn't. But they do look a bit dicey. I'm going to reflow them first. And the solder balls on here could have been causing trouble. That's all the mess cleaned up, and we can confirm it's all connected right now. There's a couple of shorts over these pins. If we test again with everything in, but no information in the background because we haven't got a game in yet. And I've noticed they haven't actually soldered the PAL pin, so let's just bridge that as well. And with all of those tested, it makes no difference. So if we go into the actual test connection, you can see it's failing straight away at the clock input. And just swapping out the board for one of mine, and that's the only change, you can see we get all the clock input, the phase lock loops, we get a sync, most of the data pins, but we're missing data 4, 5 and 6. For good measure, I've removed and resoldered all of these pins nice and neat. I've redone all of these three and redone the 5-volt wire up to here. So now let's give that a go. It's currently got our retro gem in, so not the customer's. And there we go, looks like it's now working. Let's just see if we get audio, which we do. So it looks like a combination of, well, we haven't checked the customer's board yet, but definitely the soldering on these. I believe when I was doing it, I think what's happened is under this wire, this via here, I believe the customer's wire was shorting the reset pin to this via, which if you do that, you'll get black screen. But this is now working. So let's just see if the customer's board still works. So with the customer's board connected, let's power up and see if we get that working or not, which we don't. And you can see we get the same issue with the clock input, which looks like it comes from the crystal. I don't know whether that's going to be the clock here, but we know this ribbon's fine now. So it looks like the previous installers possibly damaged this board as well somewhere. I'll see if the customer wants to go ahead with the new board, because it's quite expensive. They're about £100 just for the board. But if so, his console's all back up and running and he can enjoy playing some Zelda.